All right. Welcome to the new studio. Sorry for the brief hiatus. I've been gone for the last month, building out this brand new studio so I can make better videos for you guys. Today I'm going to teach you exactly how a professional producer makes a remix from start to finish using all stock sounds in Ableton so you can follow along every single step of the way. So I'm going to give you the step-by-step how-to, but hopefully I'm also going to inspire you, take on the belief that you can do this too, because you can, or at least I believe that you can. So go ahead and open up Ableton and let's get started. And stay hydrated. There's really only a few things that you need to make a remix. The first and most obvious thing is you're gonna need an acapella. What an acapella is it's just the vocal part of a song. So it's just the vocals isolated from the rest of the music. For me, I'm gonna use my own vocal so that I don't have to deal with any copyright claims. But if you don't have your own acapellas to work with, just go ahead and find a song that you wanna remix. Try to find something popular because it'll be easier to find an acapella, and just search the song name and then acapella or studio acapella after that, and you should be able to find some sort of acapella to work with. And then if you want, you can either try to put that out as a bootleg remix, or you can just mute the acapella and then you have a perfectly good instrumental and you can put your own vocals to it or write a song with a friend and put out your own music. I have a friend with billions of streams and he starts a lot of his songs by basically making a remix to an acapella and then muting the acapella after that. So first things first, let's open up a brand new track in Ableton. Now if you'll look here, if we double click on the master track, yours probably won't have anything on it. But what I like to use is Pro L2, third-party plugin, and I use it on the practically clipping preset right here, and I change this to all around, and I change look ahead to 0.18. But you're probably like, what the heck, Ethan? You said Ableton plugins. And fair enough, don't worry at all. For now, you can just put an Ableton limiter, which is an audio effects right here to the left. Just go ahead and click on limiter, and I'm going to do the independence preset. I'm gonna set the gain to 0 dB and the ceiling to 0 dB as well. Okay, all right, so we got our master channel taken care of. Next thing we're gonna wanna do is just drag our acapella into Ableton. Go ahead and just drag it on a new track. Ableton will always start with a new track, so just drag it onto that one, or you can press Command T to make a new track and drag it onto that. So if you don't know the BPM of your song, go ahead and just Google your song title followed by BPM. For me, I would do Light Me Up, John Belaya, BPM. But since I made the song, I know that it's at 120 and our project is already at 120. But if your song was at like 150, you would want to change your Ableton project tempo to 150 up here to the left. And you can also use the arrow keys to move the BPM up and down. Now what I want to do is the song is originally at 120, so I'm going to set the project to 120, but I want the remix to be a little bit faster. I want the remix to be at like 140. So how do we change our acapella tempo? Well, to do that, we want to just double click on our acapella on this blue bar right here, click warp. You can see down here to the left, it says 120 and Ableton is 120. So that's what you want to do. So everything's all synced up. And now to change the tempo of the acapella, we just change the tempo of the whole project and the acapella will line up to the project. So check this out.
I thought I was a little bit stronger. I thought I had a little more fight.
All right, that's a little bit too slow for me, so I'm just gonna turn up the BPM to the left using the arrow keys. Let's try 140.
I thought I was a little bit stronger. I thought I had a little more fight.
As far as Ableton goes, there's all kinds of different warp modes here, and when you're stretching an acapella out or squishing it together, making it longer or shorter, these warp modes will affect the sound. And in my opinion, for this kind of thing, I prefer using Complex Pro and just turning the formats and envelopes all the way down. That seems to be the best way to preserve the quality. Now, if you've been following my channel at all, you know that I have a 5-element formula. And this formula is like the holy grail when it comes to production. And it's drums, bass, mids, meaning like synths and guitars, and then vocals and effects. Drums, bass, mids, vocals, effects. So for this remix, we already have vocals. So we just need to do drums, bass, mids, and effects. And what I like to do is start with the drums. For this song, we could definitely start with mids and draw in some chords and stuff, but let me just get a couple of drum sounds down. I like to initiate a drum pattern, start building that out, and then we can come back to mids, build out the bass, add some effects, and we will be good to go. So I'm gonna attempt to use only Ableton drums so you can follow along. First, I gotta find a good kick. This one sounds epic. And then after that, let's find a snare that we can work with. There's all kinds here in Ableton. A lot of good ones. Ooh, Alien Spawn. Is that what it's called? Alien Spawn? Yeah, Alien Spawn. I'm gonna go ahead and mute the acapella while I build out these drums, and we will just build a quick drum pattern. All right, the snare should go here. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the click on so we can line our drums up right to the click. And I want the next snare to hit there. So in music, a bar is just 4 counts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's 1 bar. And our drum pattern is just gonna be 2 bars long, and then it can just repeat over and over again. And honestly, my best advice is to try to copy drum patterns from popular songs. But for me, since I've been playing drums since 1st grade, I have a pretty good idea in my head of how I want the drums to go. Great. That's the pattern that I'm looking for. Super simple. However, I do want to tweak these sounds a little bit. I love this kick. It's super punchy. It sounds awesome. And it comes with Ableton, which is incredible. But the snare, I want this snare to actually be a little bit higher pitch. I don't like how low it is. So what we can do is double click on the snare sample, and down here to the left where it says pitch, we can just click on this wheel and use the arrow keys and change the pitch. Let's try doing +10. And then there's two more things we can do to kind of tweak this snare and make it sound even better for this sort of future bass style remix that I'm gonna make. First thing is we can EQ it. So go ahead and drag in audio effects right here to the left, and EQ 8, just drag this right onto the snare track. And then we can see here there's kind of a peak, right around 300 hertz or so, somewhere around there. So I'm gonna go ahead and move this 2 up and move this Q up to the left. And that's gonna make it so we can really make that frequency stick out. And then also I want to boost the highs and scoop out some of the lows just by using a low pass like this. And lastly, I want to put a compressor on it. I'm just going to drag this preset that I made. You can go ahead and copy the settings. And I love the sound of this compressor on a snare. We can try it before. We can try it after. I kind of like the way it sounds after. Next, I want to layer this with a clap. So let's go back to the drums. Let's go to clap. And let's see what we got here. Oof, that's nice. Crispy, thick, everything you want in a clap. I'm gonna go ahead and turn down this 2 a little bit. And then on this clap, I just kind of want to compress it and smash it into oblivion. And to do that, I'm gonna drag this flattenator preset that comes with Ableton onto it. That sounds pretty epic, but I want to go ahead and shorten the end of it just by dragging the clip edge and then use the faders. If you hold Command, you can get really precise too. Lastly, I want to add some reverb on top of the snare. To do that, we can use the sends, which with a brand new project in Ableton, you can just click right here, right below the blue fades right here, where it says -INF. You can just turn this up, and that will add reverb to our clap. What it's doing is it's sending the clap all the way down to right here, which is a return track. If we double click on the return track, we can see the reverb that it's sending to. And I'm just going to tweak the reverb a little bit. Okay, now what I'm going to do is just delete all the other snares, highlight a 1-bar section of that snare, and press Command D to duplicate it, and now we have our drum pattern. I think another thing I could do is probably just EQ that clap a bit and add a little more high end. Excellent. Sounding really good so far. Usually when it comes to production, I start with the drums because in my mind, I'm wanting to build out the production of the drop or the chorus, the biggest part of the song. So what I can do is look through this acapella and try to find the chorus. I'm gonna unsolo it.
I light up when you look at me and I feel my body scream when you come around. And I used to think I could help it, but I've tried and I failed, and I just need you now. So come give me all.
Oh yeah, this song was quite the banger.
Don't keep me waiting long.
You know, this is from my EDM side project, John Belaya, and I worked so hard on this song, put my heart and soul into it, and it got 65,000 streams. And then I have other songs that took me like 10% of the time that get 6 million streams. So it just goes to show, you never know what's gonna perform well. All that to say, I think I want the drop to come in like right around here probably, so the vocals will go like this.
'Cause I light up when you look at me and I feel my body scream when you come around. Come around.
Boom, right there.
And light me up.
So I'm gonna go ahead and copy these drums that we did earlier. Just gonna highlight them and press Command C. And let's go to that section.
Come around and light me up. Come around and light me up. Come around and light me up. Come around and light me up.
I'm gonna go ahead and turn the acapella down. Next up, I wanna add some chords with these drums. I'm gonna go ahead and mute the vocal again. I'm gonna press Command Shift T, and that's gonna make a new MIDI track. I'm gonna highlight a 4-bar section. So this is 1 bar, it's 4 counts. I'm gonna highlight 4 of those and press Command Shift M. I'm gonna make a brand new MIDI clip. We could double click on it, and down here, we have our piano roll and we can draw in notes. If music theory is scary to you, I have a video on music theory for producers. And if you want to learn all the theory you need to know to produce a remix like this, go check out that video. You can click on it right up here. It's actually kind of blowing up right now, and I'm getting a lot of positive feedback, so I genuinely think it would help you a lot if you need help with theory. Let's go ahead and find some sort of synth to draw in our chords. Ooh, Let's try basic trip keys. Just drag it anywhere onto your MIDI track here. And then up here to the right, make sure the keyboard thing is ticked to yellow, and then you can use your computer keyboard as a synth keyboard. Also, make sure your MIDI track is armed by clicking this little record button here. Great. So let's figure out what key the song is in. I'm going to solo the acapella.
And light me up.
Da 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 ba da da da. I think it's in this key. If it was minor, da da da. It would be this key. If it was major, So it's in the key of B major. I have been trying to figure out the key of songs for years, and sometimes it just takes practice. Maybe I'll try to tackle how to explain it to someone else in another video, but somewhere along the way, I just learned to do it by ear. So first things first, let's get a chord pattern and a chord progression going. So I think I want it to go from the 4, do 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 do, shorter than that. I like to draw in the root notes of all the chords first and then expand from there. So that's kind of the pattern I want to use. Then I want it to go to this chord, and then maybe let's go to this chord. All right, here we go. I'm going to press Command A, and that's going to select all the notes, and I can start dragging and building chords. Sorry, I got to adjust some of these notes. All you have to do to draw a new note is double click, and you can just drag. You can also hold Option and drag notes out from there. That would be cool. All right, now I'm just gonna add some more notes to these chords, make them a little fancier. There we go. All right, that's our pattern, and those are our chords. Great. Now let's mess with this sound a little bit. In basic trip keys, we could just click this little box right here in this circle, this middle one, and it'll open up all the parameters. Now it looks kind of intimidating at first, but don't worry, it's actually really simple. We can play with these macro knobs here and they will tweak the sound, and they're all labeled, so it's super simple. And then to get more detailed, we can adjust things like the sustain and the decay. Awesome, it's starting to sound great already. And I just realized something really important that I completely forgot. I do this all the time because I just come out of the gate swinging and start adding stuff, and I forget to save. So press Command S, navigate to your sessions folder. If you don't have a sessions folder, you should make one, and you should put that folder on an external hard drive, an SSD if you can, and have that folder be in a Dropbox folder that's updating to the cloud. That is like the best way to make sure that you don't lose any of your work. We'll call this Light Me Up Remix, and then just click Save, and then go to File, and hit Collect All and Save. Make sure all these are yellow, and then press OK. It's gonna make sure all your samples and stuff get saved into one project folder. So if you're gonna transfer this to another hard drive or share it with a friend, anything like that, it's all gonna be in one place, and it'll keep you from losing anything. All right, next up we want a sidechain. And what that means is when these drums are playing, we want this synth to kind of cut out for a second. And to do that, let's drag a compressor onto the synth, and it'll show up right down here at the end. And we want to click this arrow to expand, and then click sidechain, and we want to route this to the kick. Click on EQ so it's gray, ratio all the way up, attack all the way down, and click on this bent line and bring down the threshold. Now if you listen carefully, you'll hear when the kick plays, this pluck sound is ducking. Do you hear it ducking? I'll make it really exaggerated so you can hear it. So this is a classic effect in dance music, and I love it. It's called sidechaining. All it's doing is just compressing the sound whenever the kick hits. The kick is like the trigger for the sidechain, so the kick plays, and it squashes down the volume of the synth. So what I'm going to do is copy this compressor, this sidechain here, and then paste it right after, and route this next one to the snare. All right, I also think we can do better for this sound in general. I think we could make it much bigger. I'm gonna turn down the echo a little bit. So to make this sound super fat, let's go ahead and just go to OTT, which is a preset under multi-band dynamics here to the left. Just drag OTT on. I'm gonna drag it in between the synth and the compressor. At first it sounds kind of bad, But the way I learned how to use this plugin is just to go here in this bluish gray area and just drag down, and drag down, and then drag these two rectangles to the right. And adjust to taste. Obviously it's super duper loud. We can just turn the whole track down by clicking on this fade here to the right and using the arrow keys. We can also add some lower notes to these chords by highlighting all the lowest notes and dragging those down a full octave while holding Option. That sounds pretty sick. Let's go ahead and add some bass to this. So just press Command-Shift-T, we'll make a brand new MIDI track, and press Command-Shift-M, that'll make a new MIDI clip. Remember, we highlight the area we want to make a new MIDI clip on, Command-Shift-M, it'll make a new one. But what we can do is actually copy these chords, paste them onto this new track, and then go ahead and delete all of these top notes, and then we'll just have our bass notes at the bottom. And if you want to make your piano roll bigger, just go to the left here until that magnifying glass comes up, and just click and drag to the right or to the left. Okay, as far as basses go, in Simpler, under Bass, B bass is such a good bass. So I'm going to drag that right onto our new bass track. Here's what it sounds like. It's super duper loud. So first thing I'm going to do is just turn it down, and then I'm also going to copy our compressors, which are on our synth track here. Just at the end, I'm going to click on one and hold Shift, and click on the other one, and press Command-C to copy them. Then I'm going to click on our bass track here, click in the audio effects area right after our bass sound, right here, and press Command-V, and that's just going to paste our sidechain there. Also, I'm going to use the release, sustain, and decay here and play with these. Try to get it to match our synth. Last thing I'm going to do is some of these notes could definitely go a bit lower. Probably these first three. So I'm going to hold Shift and press down. That's going to move them all down an octave. We can also put some reverb on this synth. We'll just use the same send as earlier. Nice. So all I'm doing to build this out is I'm just listening to it over and over and thinking, what does it need? And real quick, if you're enjoying the video and you feel like you're learning something about how to make a remix, I would love for you to consider subscribing and giving me the chance to help you make the best music that you're capable of. It genuinely would mean a lot to me, and I would be honored to teach you. Okay, back to the video. At this point, it seems obvious that it needs some sort of hi-hats to kind of carry through that empty space. So let's go to drums, hi-hats, and see what we got. Ooh, that's kind of nice too. You know what, let's actually do MIDI hi-hats. The reason I want to do this is because we can play with the velocity and the pitch and kind of finesse the hi-hats to give a little more life to them. So let's press Command-Shift-T. We'll make a new MIDI track. Let's highlight 4 bars and press Command-Shift-M. That'll make the new MIDI track. And then on this MIDI track, what we want to do is we just want to drag whatever hi-hat we want to use right onto the MIDI track. And then let's arm it by clicking record right here. And now we can use our keyboard. And we can adjust the pitch too. What I'm going to start off by doing is just by drawing in a super simple pattern. I'm pressing Command-D to duplicate this. We can do little patterns like this. Also, if we wanted to, we could press Command-A and change the pitch of all these. All right, now we want to do a couple little processing things to these hi-hats. First, we want to EQ them. Take out any low end. Then we want to also add this sidechain from our synth. Let's see what this sounds like now. I'm doing a little bit more subtle. And we can also turn this hi-hat down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to group this snare and this clap together by clicking on one, holding Shift and clicking on the next, pressing Command-G. So now if I put effects on this group, it's going to affect the whole sound. And I'm just going to put an EQ on it, kind of adjust things a little bit. I'm just cranking the highs on this. So far we have our drums. If I solo them, they sound like this. We have our mids and our bass. Now what I want to do is add some more mids, kind of build out the sound a little bit more. Also, we can check it with our vocals.
Come around and light me up. Come around and light me up. Come around and light.
And we can also have everything kind of cut out there. So there's like a little break here.
Come around and light.
I'm around. Dun, 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 dun. So something like this.
Come around and light me up. Come around and light me up.
So right now, I'm not even fully sure how I want the chorus to go. It could have the vocals, we could pull the vocals. We could even chop the vocals up just by moving around little sections, duplicating stuff, something like this. There's endless possibilities. But one thing I did want to try was maybe adding some sort of arpege. Arpege. Was adding some sort of arp sound. To do that, I could just duplicate the synth track that we already have just by clicking on it, pressing Command D, and I'm going to drag these chords out so they're not playing over and over. They're each just playing one time. That. And then what we can do is go to MIDI effects and drag an arpeggiator at the very beginning of everything. Let's see what it sounds like. That's sick. Let's go ahead and change the rate. I'm just playing with some of these sounds right here. But if we want, we can go ahead and find different sounds by clicking on this little hot swap thing right here and then auditioning some different sounds to the left. Ooh, that's kind of nice. And then just double click on the sound you want to use. All I'm doing is just trying out different sounds. That's kind of a sick sound. It's kind of old school sounding. Huh. What if it went like A and B? So like the first half was the dun 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 synth, and the second one was the beep-boop beep-boop one. That could work. I'm just adjusting the pattern a little bit. Ooh, that's sick. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to automate this release. And all automation is we're just adjusting a parameter over time. To do that in Ableton, you just click the slanted line up here to the right, click on release, and you'll see a dotted red line appear. And now we can click and drag and adjust. All right, I'm realizing this video is getting a little bit long, so I'm gonna try to wrap up this drop. What I've done is gone on the automation view, and I've been playing with this ARP sound. So this is the pattern that I have. And what I wanted to do is I want that vocal to come in on that gap. So here is our vocal with those random chops that I did. But I want to do some kind of vocal chop thing. And there's a few ways that we can do that. One way is we can drag auto filter onto here, play with our frequency here, our resonance, and amount, switch our LFO to this sawtooth shape. Make sure our rate is synced to the BPM. That's what it sounds like. That's kind of sick, actually. Okay, so I think that if I turn this off, our vocal is going to get really loud. So I want to put this chop on its own track. So I'm just going to press Command D and duplicate our whole acapella. I'm going to delete everything. And then I'm going to take this A section here, this choppy bit, and move the choppy bit onto its own track. And then I'll also move this auto filter. If I solo both of these, it'll just go back and forth. And then this will be choppy as well. Like this. Sick. Let's hear that with the drums. Another thing we'll do is we will turn down this fez keys. We can also use this pitch here to the lower left and change the pitch of some of these chops. Up this. Okay. Another thing I want to do real quick is just add some effects. Now what we can do is add some sort of reverse white noise effect. That's really going to add a lot to sort of the flow of the drop in the choruses and stuff. Let's try riser white noise and just see where we can fit it in. I'm going to turn it down. This is kind of a cool sound, this little DJ scratch noise, this guy. I feel like we could probably work it in, like right there. It's so subtle, but it actually sounds so sick. Ooh, that's kind of a sick white noise too. Let's try adding our sidechain to that white noise just by copying it and pasting it. I think it's just way too loud in general. It's a bit too much every time, so I'm just going to add it at the beginning. Okay, so this is the part in the production process where I just listen through things over and over and over, and I'm making tiny little tweaks, adding little sounds, and just kind of using trial and error, especially when it comes to effects, using stuff like these toms and this white noise, and these reverses, and this little, just trying to see where I can fit little blips and noises like that. But I'm going to take a few minutes here and just keep building this out, and then I'll show you what I did afterwards. If you're following along, just pause the video, take some time, and try and get as far as you can on your own. Okay, so I've been working on this for a while, probably like another 20 minutes or so. I didn't really do much of a build yet, but I'm going to show you what I got. Just been adding in some more effects, and I added this little post-chorus section here. There's no chords or anything for this part, but here we go.
I light up when you look at me and I feel my body scream when you come around. Come around. Me up. Me up. Me up. Come around. Light me up.
Hey! We could have this be a build here. So anyway, that's a little bit chaotic. These drums I made with just an Ableton drum kit. And I just programmed it like this, and then added a flattenator, a drum bus thing, an EQ thing. These are all Ableton plugins, but I just thought it sounded really cool with this synth. Especially with the vocals. Okay, so this in a sense was kind of a challenge for me because I'm so used to using third-party plugins, especially my limiter on the master. We could have gotten this song probably a lot louder by using Pro L2 on my special preset. And I probably would have used some Serum for the synths and Splice for the drums, but honestly I just wanted to show you that you could put together an incredible sounding remix just with Ableton stock sounds. A lot of people, they go through their life and they think about producing music and they think that it's impossible or that they're not able to do it, but the reality is all the tools are here within the program. It's just up to you to put in the work and learn how to use the tools, and you can create professional sounding music at the industry standard. And all you really need is just Ableton and the belief that you can create good music. So I just want to encourage you really quick. If you're watching this and you have Ableton, what do you have to lose? Try making a remix. Go online, find an acapella, find the BPM and the key of the song, drag it in, watch my music theory video if you need it, and just try dragging in some drum samples, making a drum loop, try adding some bass, try adding some mids, and then try some effects. And in some of my other videos, I talk about structuring and stuff like that. And I didn't want this video to be too long, so I couldn't get super into it. But for most of you guys out there, you have what it takes in terms of the tools and the ability. You just need to apply yourself. For some of you guys watching, you're gonna want a full-fledged course that lays everything out from start to finish, from the most basic things to the most complicated things in production. And you want me to walk you through every single step of the process and be able to come to me with all your questions and get feedback on your songs and stuff like that. And for you guys specifically, I have a program called Complete Producer Pro, and it teaches you everything you need to know to make professional quality music. I also recently started putting together my course on EDM. I am an expert at EDM production. I have that project Jambalaya. I have my other artist projects like Dropout right here, which is a bunch of EDM stuff. And I also have my first project, Candyland. So the proof is in the pudding. I know how to make this kind of music, and I'm putting together this course, EDM Producer Pro, and that's gonna be part of the bigger course, which is Complete Producer Pro. So if you get the big one, you get everything else under it. I've been working on the EDM course for the last couple months, and I think it is absolutely incredible, and it's gonna help you so much. So if you wanna learn more about any of that, I'll put part of the course in the description of the video for free. So just click that link and check it out there. And honestly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for watching. And remember to stop making excuses and start making music. Cheers. There we go. That was a good one. Okay, bye-bye.